The United States is home to one of the largest Somalian immigrant communities, who many of them fled Somalia after the fall of the Siad Barre regime. These immigrants not only find shelter and refuge in America, but have also managed to hold political offices to represent their constituents. However, many of these officials are increasingly shifting their focus to politics in Somalia while in office, getting involved in tribal conflicts in the Horn of Africa. These individuals actively exploit their position to stir discord among Somalis in the Horn of Africa. They often engage in lobbying, organize fundraising, and travel to conflict areas instead of prioritizing US interests. These individuals focus on the concerns of their clans in Somalia. Their activities often undermine the interest of the American people and betray the trust of their constituents. The recently widely reported video of Congresswoman Ilhan Omar pledging allegiance to Somalia has raised questions about her loyalty. Ilhan, who strongly opposes Somaliland and is reported to have family connections to the late communist dictator of Somalia. Her father, Noor Omar, served in the Siad Barre regime as an army colonel, and her grandfather was a high-ranking official. Many of these Somali Americans elected to office, including Ilhan Omar, are influenced by their strong clan affiliations and harbour animosity towards Somaliland and the majority of its people.
runtii halgankan muddada socday runtii halganka sida loo soo maray dadka dhaqaalaha ay ku bixinayaan waqtiga ay gelinayaan waa dareemi kartiin xanuunku nagu hayay runtii farxad waxaan oo hadda heerna taaganahay aan ka fakareen sida loo dhisi lahaa maamulka bas taasna farxad ilaahay ma sha Allah ilaahay oo u mahad celinayno runtii ilaahay ka soo koona bulshadii runtii bulshada qaatimo kuwa Soomaaliya jooga oo runtii naftoodii horay ay ku qurbaha jooga oo runtii qaar laabteen qaarna dhaqaale ay runtii habeen iimaan ka daba fariisan ilaahay ku barkeeyana ku amaanayna
ciyaarka intuu ku fadhiyo kursigaas hal single bill oo dadka degan mujtamaca degan ku nool district 3 anfacay ugu dhinta waa hal bill hadduu cadaan yahay hadduu madow yahay hadduu maskaan yahay hal dadka intagan waa isku baahi.
One of the tools employed by Somalians to mislead the American public and the government involves the establishment of dubious non-profit organizations. These entities disguise themselves as working for the social welfare of all ethnic Somali Americans. One such organization is the United Somali Alliance, which is a non-profit that claims on its website to create resources and support for the advancement of Somali people in Minnesota and the US. However, a quick look at their Twitter reveals their misplaced focus and misalignment with their mission. They rarely address the needs of Somali Americans, dedicating too much attention to tribal matters outside of America, particularly in the Horn of Africa. One stark example of their involvement is evident in the conflict between Somaliland and the Lassa Nod militia, where they actively sabotage the efforts made by Somaliland to de-escalate the situation, inciting the people of Lassa Nod against the government, and hiring anti-Somaliland lobbyists in DC to attack the credibility of Somaliland and anyone who dares to support it. It's crucial to note that the United Somali Alliance operates as a 501c3 organization and cannot engage in or participate in any political campaigns, directly or indirectly, as it is a violation of IRS regulations. Organizations like the United Somali Alliance often use Somali American elected officials to appear credible and form connections with political entities for influence. For instance, the United Somali Alliance, despite being a tax-exempt domestic organization based in Minneapolis, hired anti-Somaliland lobbying firm in coordination with the Somali embassy in Washington, D.C. This lobbying firm is known for its strong anti-Somaliland rhetoric and actively works to sabotage relations between Somaliland and the United States. The United Somali Alliance appears to be operating under the direction of the Somali embassy, potentially violating federal laws by avoiding scrutiny under the Foreign Agents Registration Act. The activities engaged by these elected officials and the deployment of non-profit organizations not only neglect the needs of American constituents as it prioritizes tribal interests outside of America, but also work against the interests of the United States in the Horn of Africa by destabilizing the region and creating tribal enclaves and militias.